Hi, today we are in Madrid with eRepublik. Alexis, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Alexis Bonte and I'm the co-founder and CEO of eRepublik Labs.
What did you do before you started this company?
So that's a complicated thing. So I started my first company when I was 21, straight out of business school. Yeah, it was called tradeok.com. I tried to do eBay in Europe, but at the same time as OLX. This is 1998, something like that. It was a complete failure. It didn't work out. I actually raised some funds and all that, but it didn't work out. I was very lucky because then a friend of mine was raising funds in Argentina for another company. And I told him, listen, South America is a bit risky and all that sort of stuff. I have an idea. Let me come, see your investors, convince them to put a bit more money, and I'll give you what I've got left of my company, and then you'll have an office in Europe as well. Yeah. And he said, okay, let's try and do that. So I remember I had £500 left. Yeah. And so I took a flight with the £500 to Argentina, convinced investors. He raised $1 million instead of $800,000. I got 5% of his company. Yeah. I lost my company, I lost everything, but I had 5% of his company. Yeah. I didn't go bust. Yeah. And 5 years afterwards, the irony is that the European office of that company saved that company, and then the company was bought by Ipsos, and it was a huge exit.
Wow,
so,
awesome.
That's how I got started, and then I worked in lastminute.com.
Lastminute.com,
which is a big travel company. Yeah. I met a wonderful person called Brent Oberman, who asked me to help him out to basically found and start lastminute.com. I was not the founder, but I was part of the team at the beginning. And that was a crazy story. For 6 years we did an IPO, then the company went down really badly, and then we managed to rebuild it, and we sold the company in 2005 for $1.1 billion to Seal.
And when did you start with this gaming industry?
So when I was 16 years old, my friends used to make fun of me because I would write business plans about the games company I would have one day.
Ah, okay, really?
So I would do I would write down the games and all that sort of stuff. I wanted to do the time I think it was a Formula 1 management game because I like that. So after lastminute.com, I did a bit of angel investing. My wife is Spanish, so she wanted us to move to Spain, so I moved here. I started looking at things in Romania and all that, and found some developers for different things. And I've always liked a game that was called Civilization, which is a famous PC game. And I thought, it would be great if we could have Civilization on the PC, but online with everything, and with the internet, with user-generated content and all that. And I found somebody in Romania who was a programmer. I thought, yeah, that could be interesting as well, and all that. And so we started like that. We didn't know what we were doing, really.
Okay, how long did it take until the company kept growing a little bit faster?
So for 6 months, the company was really just 6 people, and I basically put the money to get it started, and we built the product. I designed the game and all sorts of stuff and all that. And after 6 months, we had something that I was like, this is pretty good, but it wasn't really ready. So then we launched it anyway. And I remember it was the beginnings of Twitter, and I was one of the first people on Twitter, thanks to Rick Lemeur, who showed it to me. And so I tweeted, hey, I just released this social strategy game called eRepublik.com, where you can be a real citizen in a real country. And I thought, okay, we'll see what happens. Within a week, with 30,000 people playing from all over the world. And that's how we started. 1 month afterward, we competed at the Web. We presented at the Web. We won the jury prize, special jury prize at the Web, and things just got started that way.
So was it more PR driven through Luke, or?
I think it's when you're starting and when you're an entrepreneur. So I was lucky enough because at lastminute.com I wasn't the founder. So I did have the gravitas that the founder has, but I did have the contacts. I did know a lot of people, and so that gave me access to different people, to influencers. I also was very lucky when I moved to Madrid here to meet a wonderful man called Martin Varsavsky, who very kindly invited me to, he used to do an event called the Menorca Tech Talk, and he invited me to that event, and I went, and so I started showing the game to people who were influential, and then I got those people to retweet my tweets and start talking about the game. I got Julio Alonso, who's a Spanish guy here, was the biggest blogs to start playing the game. So the people like Julio Alonso would also play the game, all that. So So it's not PR. It's more, I would call it more social networking, and then making that work, because we didn't get a lot of press, almost no press.
Okay.
Then when we started having millions of users and all that, we got press.
Okay, understood. So basically focus on the key influencers and then just having them distributing this message.
Yeah.
Okay. Your business model of eRepublik, how does it work right now?
So at the beginning it had no business model because the game was free and we had no idea how we were going to make it. We thought we were going to be advertising, but we were one of the first people to put free to play.
Okay.
So because this is 7 years ago. I think actually the Germans were the ones who were doing this at the beginning. I think it was only Gameforge and Bigpoint were doing free to play. So we looked at what they were doing, and we decided to introduce a currency in the game that you could purchase. And with that currency you could basically buy advantages in the game and all that, and that's become our business.
Okay, and how many users do you have currently at eRepublik?
So in the past 7 years we have 5 million users who have registered to play the game. And that's kind of the official number that we disclose, but it's a smaller number of players that actually are active on a monthly basis, but we don't disclose that number.
And how do you acquire the customers or registered users today?
Yeah.
Via which channels?
So today we actually only rely on organic virality still. There was a time where we did campaigns, marketing campaigns like AdWords and all that, but those quite honestly became quite expensive. So we stopped doing it and we put more viral elements into the game and all that, and that's what we do. Also, what we've realized is the organic traffic is usually a lot more performs a lot better than the acquired traffic.
Sure.
So
the conversion rates of signing
the
up.
conversion rates, the second day return, the 30-day retention rate, the monetization is much stronger. So we try and rely on organic as much as possible. But there were times where we were spending a lot of money on marketing.
And can you give us some more insights on the KPIs you are tracking and how they help you perform better?
So the very important KPIs that we look at is, if you're looking at the kind of a marketing channel, so of course we look at the acquisition cost per registration or per install. If you're talking about mobile, that's the first thing you look at. We never pay non-performance advertising. We never do that. Then what we look at is the percentage of people who complete what we call the onboarding, the tutorial. So if you're below 60%, you're in trouble. That means there's problems with your onboarding, you should change it. Then we look at the percentage of people who come back on the second day. So that's what we call second day retention. So ideally you want to be at 50%, not lower than 40%. And then we look at 7-day retention and 30-day retention. And ideally you want to be around 20-25%. So 100 players that install or register in your game, after a month you want to have about 20-25 still playing. For core games, most core games are actually around 10. But if you're below 10, you're already in trouble. And then obviously monetization, how much revenue can you get? And that really depends on the game. A game like ours, eRepublik, monetizes quite late because it's very hardcore. But mobile games will monetize in the first week, so it really depends on the game.
Because you have the purchases of the app, or is it that they monetize better?
So because you have in-app purchases, and because on mobile, usually the lifetime of a user will be shorter. I mean, it will be 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months if you're very lucky. In games like the one we did with eRepublik.com, you can actually have much longer lifetimes. So we have an average lifetime of close to 2 years.
Wow.
Which is very long, by the way. It's probably one of the longest in the industry.
Okay, and in terms of the revenue model, can you split this via desktop and mobile, and how you're earning money on both of these devices?
So right now, it's for eRepublik.com, it's quite bizarre because we didn't have we did a web mobile version. We didn't do application of eRepublik. So because eRepublik is a browser game, and what we're seeing right now is that about 15-20% of our traffic is mobile, which is very low. It should be higher, and you'll be much higher when we'll do an app. But right now what we've decided to do is, because eRepublik is such a complex game, it's a 7 years old game, we've been adding things every month, is to do new games. So we're launching Tactical Heroes, that's the next game that we're doing. We're soft launching on 26th of June in Spain, and we'll have the global launch sometime in September. I'm very happy because we had our first review today of some journalists managed to find our soft launch in New Zealand. He did a review of the non-finished game, and we got an 8 out of 10 for a game that's not finished yet. So I'm very excited about that.
Not bad.
And then we do another game called Age of Lords, which we will launch sometime next year.
And can you tell us a little bit more about your future plans of these games? Because as you said, okay, you have one game now, and you're planning to release 2 further games. And can you tell us a little bit more about the strategy behind it? So whether you are expanding into different kind of gaming segments or in different platforms or geographic regions? Yeah.
So geographic regions, so we basically, the game eRepublik is played all over the world. It's very strong everywhere in the world except in Asia. What we actually decided to continue focusing on strategy games because that's what we know, that's what we love. But what we've decided to do is actually to pivot the company towards mobile games because this is where all the growth is right now. In browser games are declining about 15-20% year on year. Mobile games are booming. Also, there's a lot more competition with mobile games, so you need to know what you're doing. So this is the reason actually we have 2 game studios in the company. We have a game studio with about 35 people in Romania, and that game studio is divided into 2 game teams. One game team that takes care of eRepublik.com, another game team that takes care of the new game Age of Lords. And we actually had to open a new studio here in Spain, which is where I live, to do Tactical Heroes. And we needed to have a mobile games team for that. And that was the hardest part to do. So we actually had to acquire a company. So we made a small acquisition of a company called Alien Flow, which had a team of people who were experienced in doing mobile games. And another thing that we've done is we've spent almost, I'd say, a year just building the team up.
Understood.
So getting people from Gameloft and companies like that really have experience. So now we have a very strong team, about 27 people here in Spain, that allows us to do a game. Because to compete here, to compete in games, it's all about the team.
Okay. And how do you convert from the users from eRepublik to the new games, given the hard facts that it's a different kind of genre and different kind of platform that you use? And also in terms of marketing channels, I mean, it's a different way of acquiring customers for the mobile applications as for the desktop.
Yeah. So the one thing that we have in common is it's a strategy game, it's multiplayer, and it's competitive gameplay. So we know that we have players that like that. So we have a database of 5 million core gamers that like those kinds of games that we can market to because we regularly market to all these people. And so we'll be able to cross-promote. But we know that normally cross-promotion from email to iPhone install is not usually the best one. So we've tested it now with our Indonesian community because we have soft launch in Indonesia. And that has given us, we have I think about 200,000 players in Indonesia, and that's given us a few thousand installs. So we know that from 5 million installs, we should get a decent amount of installs, but it clearly won't be sufficient. So what we're doing, very important thing is to basically learn, what marketing channels work on mobile. It's the Facebooks, it's the chart boosts, it's all those channels. Test them, and even if it's with 50 euros, 100 euros, very little. Start testing them. Start having the metrics. Start measuring everything. So we've been running campaigns in Indonesia for 2 months with 20, 30 euros a day. But we're learning, and we're doing that sort of stuff. And the other important thing is, if you can, try and get Apple to support you. Apple will never promise anything, but you should definitely try.
Okay, great. And in terms of corporate strategy, so what do you need to do now in order to remain relevant and grow the business? So what is driving the competitive advantage in the gaming or in the core gaming industry?
So I'd say probably 3-4 years ago, eRepublik.com was at the forefront, and then we missed the boat. We missed the whole Facebook games boat because we were so focused on eRepublik that was growing. We were on the rocket ship, and we were just trying to keep the rocket ship going. And when you do that, sometimes you miss opportunities. And I remember we were actually knew about the whole Facebook program and all that from the moment they launched. All that was like, we don't have time for that. We don't have time for that. And we missed the whole Facebook thing. And so we decided, okay, we don't want to miss mobile. So this is why. So from a strategic point of view, what we've done is although what is easy for us is to keep investing in eRepublik and keep growing and all that, we say, okay, of all the teams that we have, we're going to reduce the team that's focusing on eRepublik.com. We're going to do that acquisition. We need to be good at mobile. We need to understand mobile. And so that's the big strategic decision that we've done. eRepublik.com was a profitable company for the past few years. And we said, you know what? Now the train is leaving the station, is going fast, so we're going to invest. It doesn't matter. We don't need to be profitable for 1 or 2 years. We've accumulated reserves, and we're going to just invest to make sure that we get on this new and get on the new rocket ship.
Right. And this is a very good bridge for talking about the market development, as you said, because there seem to be some shifts over the past few years, like from normal browser games to more social-related games using Facebook for virality, and now mobile is coming big. Can you tell us a little bit more what you think the future will be in terms of gaming? I mean, obviously desktop will not die, but maybe the proportions will change, or the type of games that are played on the different devices will maybe change.
That's a very good question. So I think, by the way, Facebook is a good platform, and I think Facebook, there will still be social games playing on Facebook. There's very good successes on Facebook recently. So that's still a good platform and one that we're looking at and talking to. Then basically the desktop games, Steam is doing very well. And I think this is the really core games on PC. I think everything that's kind of esports is really kind of happening on the PC. So the ones I would be more concerned about is the consoles. I think the consoles are struggling. Even the new generation, I don't know how strongly it's still going. But the PC games I think will still be there. I think browser games are going to continue to decline. But the games that are, in my opinion, still going to boom is basically especially the tablets.
Okay.
I think phones and all that is going to be very strong, but the tablets are going to be very strong. But the types of games have to be slightly different, because the biggest difference is the time of the session. So how much time you spend playing that game. So for example, at PC you could have a game that's designed to be played for hours and hours. Same thing on the console. On the mobile phone, it's a few minutes. It's what you call the snack experience. On the tablet, it's in between both.
Okay. Because you're coming from this core gaming industry and seeing Diablo 3, for example, is a core game which is distributed online and making quite a lot of revenue. Have you ever thought about going into this kind of subscription-based core games?
We don't believe in subscription.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Why?
Free to play is much stronger.
Okay.
Because free to play, I think it's more fair. You get to try the game for free, and if you like it, you pay.
Okay.
I mean, subscription is the same thing. Usually they give you 15 days, but I just don't believe in the subscription model. I think different games have different values for different people. I might use Diablo 3 5-6 hours a day, and you might use it half an hour a day. Why should we pay the same price?
Understood. Okay. With Entrepreneurial Insights, we always try to teach or give advice to first-time entrepreneurs. And I think you have learned some quite cool lessons over the last 10 to 15 years being an entrepreneur. And maybe I can ask you to share 1-2 stories.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the one thing when I have friends who start a company, the one thing I tell them is the first 3 years of your life as an entrepreneur are going to be hell. It's going to be horrible. You're going to learn tons. You're going to think nothing goes right. It's going to be very, very tough, and don't expect to have profits in the first 3 years. And people need to understand that. You know, it's not like a lot of people see this glamorous entrepreneurial because people only write about successes and successful entrepreneurs. Very rarely speak about failure. And the first 3 years, you're just going to fail over and over and over and over and over. Because that is how you fail, how quickly you fail, and building up on those failures that eventually will make you reach success. But the most likely fact is going to take 3 years. So that's the first thing. The second thing is actually linked to the first thing. It's about persistence. You have to be super damn persistent. I mean, I'll tell you, lastminute.com, which was the first company I was part of, where I wasn't the founder, But I remember it was about selling, flight tickets at the beginning. And if you want to sell flight tickets, you need to have a deal with the airlines. And the first deal that they tried to get was with Alitalia. It took 35 phone calls for Alitalia to answer.
Oh, wow.
And then we started saying Alitalia, and then lastminute.com was then the biggest travel company here. More recently, in our case, we're moving to mobile. Although we were an established company in browser games, nobody knew us in mobile. And it's very hard to do well in mobile if Apple doesn't look at you, doesn't talk to you. If Google doesn't look at you, doesn't talk to you. And I remember at the beginning, 6 months ago, I would go to conferences, and I know a lot of people because I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. And I knew nobody at Apple that could help us. I knew the people I knew at Google had nothing to do with the Google Play people. I was completely stuck. So, started asking friends, calling, and it took me 3 months. 3 months of really finding out who the right people are. The people who have the connections, they don't give you the connections. And now we're in a situation where we're talking with these people, they've noticed, they know we're serious, they've seen the game, they analyze the game a lot, but it's month and month and month of insisting. And it's not something I gave to, we have marketing people. It's not the marketing people who make it happen. You gotta make it happen.
Thank you very much, Alexis.
You're welcome. Thank you.